In the broad sense, I'd say I'm an Irish Kiwi. I'm not a Kiwi Irishman, I'm an Irish Kiwi. And that's it, I'm still Irish, no matter what people think or say. And, but I mean, the thing is, I have a laugh when the rugby, when Ireland came out here and they played New Zealand, and the first half, Ireland were winning, and then the second half, the Kiwis then won. And I was talking to a few friends of mine, and I said, that was a great game. He said, yeah, good job we won. I said, you never won. He said, what do you mean? I said, who won the first half? Ireland, yeah. Who won the second half? New Zealand. Draw. And they couldn't get the logic of that. But that's the way I looked at it. At Kilbirnie, where St. Pat's College is, that used to be an open field, big field. And we're just walking by one day and we seen these half a dozen blokes kicking the ball around. And so they invited us to join, so we went over. And I said, where's your grant? We didn't have a grant. So, so my father just helped me, he came over. They didn't have a coach, so he became the coach. And what a successful team we were then. And it was all Irish, Scots, Welsh, English. Because I had some fun in games, you know, I jumped ahead of the ball, I'd head the ball, and my eye would go flying too. Then I had to start looking for trying to find the bloody thing. So that was a good, fun in games. People used to say to me, how did you ask Patsy to marry you? And I said, I didn't. Did she ask you? I said, no. We both just knew. It's like when I first met her, the first day I met her, I came in and I stayed there. My father reckoned I stayed there for 7 hours. So that was about 3 in the morning when I left. And he said to me, what did you talk about? And I don't know. I actually do not know. I have no idea. But, that was it for me, with her. I mean, even Patsy worked over at Wellington Airport. We lived in Kilbirnie, Edmonds Bay, and every night I would accidentally be driving by there when she finished work. Every night. And you know, you think you're clever. And it's only years afterward I was sitting down one night going, what a bloody idiot I must have seemed. You don't think of things like that. And we only, we got married in 74. Patsy died in 81, and buried in 81. So we had probably run about just over 6 years of marriage. And people say to me, oh, you know, you get over it, you don't. It's an idiotic thing. People say, oh yeah, time will heal. And it doesn't, it stays there. But the great thing for me is that, I think an old priest had said to me once, you know something, how fortunate you are. You married one of God's angels. He gave her to you for 6 or 7 years, and then he took her back. He said, so you have something to look back on that millions of people don't have. So there you are. So I'm not downhearted. I never get really downhearted. I might get poor sometimes, but that's only money. I can go out, work, get money. But it's not the be-all, the end-all to my life. I'm quite happy as people say you're poor, you're only poor in money. You're not poor in there. That's the important part. My first thing would be Kelly. That's one thing that I can sit down and reminisce on her life, my daughter. And that's it. That's that word, my daughter. Not anybody else's, my daughter. It's a nice thing for me to look back on, you know, to see my daughter from when she was a little baby all the way up to a grown woman now, and think, I helped. But Kelly as a role to me is more Patsy, and I look at it that way. So every time I see her, I see my Patsy. And I think it was, I wrote a poem one day, I can't remember it now, but I used to say on it that Kelly was, clipping from her mother. And so the same roles is being perpetuated. So it's not a dead thing, it's a living thing. I've had, how would you say, barriers along the way, but I've always been able to climb over them. The important part for me is my family. Because, I mean, even the time when I've been in hospital, you know, pretty sick, and you're aware of who's around you. People may not be aware, but I was really aware of who was there. And I opened my eyes, it'd either be my mother, my father, or my sisters. And I never woke up once that there was nobody there. There was always somebody there. And that for me is a great positive thing, because it's important that you have your family, particularly parents, sisters, brothers. And the old saying is that my brother and I used to knock hell out of each other, but anybody walking between, they were in trouble. We'd knock the hell out of them, but that was it. I've got one of these natures that I can see funny things and sad things. And I remember when, after my mother died, and we were at the funeral, and I was up speaking about my mother, and then the priest got up to do his little eulogy. And he's standing up there all solemn, and everybody's sitting quiet with their heads down. And he said, you know something, this will be the first time that Kathleen is laid on top of Bob. The whole church just burst out with laughter. He actually didn't realize what he had said. Just hilarious. And even when we went up to the graveyard and putting the coffin in the grave, because they were right up the top of the road and it was pissing down. I said, why don't we just put it down and slide it in? No, it wasn't acceptable. So, but you know, you get a lot of. I must admit that there's been times at funerals that I actually crack up. You know, you shouldn't, but I think, well, they're dead. They're not going to worry whether I laugh or cry. So I will carry on to the day I die. I reckon I'll be up the graveyard digging a hole before I get in. True, because my lungs are shut. So I've got asbestos in my lungs, I've got solvent in my lungs, and I've got a touch of emphysema. And when I went to see the doctor, and he said, well, the only thing keeping you alive is you're fit. It's your job, what you're doing. He said, if you stop doing that, you'll die. So I don't have a choice. I just have to keep going. But that's it.
Keep him fit in Coca-Cola.
And having a game of golf and plenty of spuds. I'll tell me spuds. And that's about it. I think I really couldn't say. I mean, there's nothing really exceptional about what I do or what I am. I'm just an ordinary bloke. And I would look, people think, well, I wouldn't hurt a fly, I wouldn't hurt anybody, you know. I can't see the point in anything like that. I just hope to remember it as just an ordinary bloke. That's it. That's what I am.
On Raglan Road of an autumn day, I saw her first and knew that her dark hair would weave a snare that I might one day rue. I saw the danger and I passed along the enchanted way, and I said, let grief be a fallen leaf at the dawning of the day. On Grafton Street in November, we tripped lightly along the ledge of a deep ravine where can be seen the worth of passion's pledge. The Queen of Hearts still making tarts, and I not making hay. Oh, I loved too much, and by such is happiness thrown.